Morning, gentlemen. The final goal of these feminazis is to outlaw masculinity. In order to do this, they must present evidence of its detriment to society. One thing I hear a lot is that toxic masculinity is at the root of violence against women by a partner. They will try and claim that men who assault or murder their female partner does this because they are misogynists. Well, I've got an article today that may debunk that theory. Let's check it out. It's from the conversation, Does Toxic Masculinity Explain Why Men Kill Women? Perhaps not as much as we thought. Men killing their female partners has gone from something that occurred behind closed doors with little public discussion to the focus on national headlines and high-level policy attention. Even though shocking and high-profile murders rightly prompt call for law and policy reform, it is a different thing entirely to develop measures that actually work. The risk is that complex problems will be oversimplified. How much of men killing women can we understand through a purely gendered lens? In other words, how much does looking at this problem through a lens of patriarchal control and toxic masculinity actually explains the problem? The answer may be less than we thought. When a tragedy like this occurs, we want to know why. Unfortunately, that pursuit for a simple explanation can cause us to miss the real and more complicated reasons. When it comes to understanding why men kill their partners, there are two distinct schools of thought. One is that offenders share the similarities with men who are violent in other settings, for example, towards people they don't know. The other is that men who kill intimate partners are distinctly different from other killers, particularly in their attitudes and beliefs about the place of women in society and men's rights over men. The latter view has come to dominate policymaking. So a man who would do something so violent is also violent to others. But his beliefs in gender roles is what they pick to explain his behavior. We looked at the question using data from Australian Homicide Project. This is a unique database that contains in-depth interviews with over 300 convicted homicide offenders in Australia. Our study compared three groups: men who committed intimate partner femicide, men who kill females non-intimates, and men who kill other men. We found very few differences between the three groups when it came to their backgrounds. A considerable portion in each group had not completed high school and were under financial stress and or unemployed in the year before the homicide. Experiencing physical abuse and neglect during childhood was commonly reported. So was witnessing parental violence and having insecure relationships with their parents. There were some differences. Men who killed other men were more likely to have had problems with alcohol or drugs in the year before the homicide. They also had far more extensive criminal histories. Well, this makes more sense to me. Someone who can take another person's life has to be mentally broken. They are victims of abuse and products of broken homes. Drug and alcohol abuse destroys your mind, and making rational decisions is impossible. All three groups had much higher levels of past criminal offending than the general population. Assault was especially common. Interestingly, the intimate partner femicide group and the men who kill other men group did not differ significantly in their levels of reported past violence towards an intimate partner. Well, some of these offenders have been able to control their anger for most of their lives, but the pain that comes from a bad relationship pushes them to the edge and over. Women can make you so freaking mad sometimes. Overall, our results warn that policies intended to prevent intimate partner femicide should not become narrowly focused around gendered factors such as men's attitudes towards women and toxic masculinity. These results showed things like adverse experiences in childhood and financial stress may be common threads across various types of homicide. Many theories about homicide and homicide prevention strategies focus strongly on the relationship between the victim and the offender. or the sex of the victim. Our work, although based on a relatively small sample size, sounds a caution that such an approach can easily fail to capture the nuance and the diversity within the victim-offender relationships, as well as crucial similarities across different groups. Well, the female biased legal system concentrates on the relationship and the gender instead of the real cause behavior. Ultimately, legal and policy responses to homicide need to be informed by multiple different perspectives and understandings of offending. While the gendered perspective has a part to play, it is clear this approach cannot offer all the answers. Well, anytime there is a tragedy, the government and its officials use it as an opportunity to write more laws, to restrict us and enact policies that discriminate against an entire group of people. But unfortunately, more and more women are put in position of policymaking. And they have these innate desires to strike revenge on all men because of the one or two that broke their little hearts. You know, when you corner an injured animal, it will attack. I mean, that's just common sense. But that's all I got, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you soon.